Can Bryson DeChambeau drive the par-5 6th at Bay Hill Club and Lodge during this week's Arnold Palmer Invitational? We may soon find out. I'm Ryan Ballengee. Thanks for checking us out once again here at Golf News Net. One of the big storylines coming into this week at the Kings tournament is whether or not Bryson DeChambeau would even attempt to drive the unique par-5 6th hole at Bay Hill Club and Lodge. Given that he's attempted in practice rounds and seems to be teasing the possibility of doing it in competition, it's worthwhile looking at whether or not he'll even try, and B, whether or not he can be successful. Bryson DeChambeau has been thinking about this for months. He's hinted at it, he's talked about it, alluded to it, that he's been eyeing up trying to drive the green from the tee box at the par-5 6th hole at Bay Hill. Now, the 6th, one of 4 par-5s at Bay Hill, is unique because it wraps entirely around a lake. So the nature of the par-5 is forcing you to play around the lake rather than trying to play over the lake and getting directly to the green. There are a lot of holes like this where an entire hole wraps around water as a par-5, forcing a player to just kind of plot their way around it as aggressively as they can. What's really interesting about the 6th, though, is that the nature of the dogleg, the way that the hole is shaped around the lake, creates the possibility that a driver as long as Bryson DeChambeau could attempt to drive the green. And so he attempted in practice rounds a couple of different times with his launch monitor with the tee moved up to the 525-yard marker that the PGA Tour can use in competition to see if he could clear the water. Gave it several attempts, didn't get over. But with a favorable wind, it's possible. The carry on the shorter tee is anywhere from 330 to 335 yards, depending on how precise you want to be with Google Earth. But Bryson DeChambeau's carry distance on average on the PGA Tour this season is right about in that range, about 334 yards. So it's possible for him to get over the water with the right wind and at least clear the water, if not hold the green. And he's alluded to the possibility that he might do it in competition given the right circumstances. He shot 567 in the first round. Afterwards, he talked about the possibility of trying to drive the green in the second round or subsequent rounds of the tournament.
But there was a high expectation level of me trying to go for the green there, and it was a little pressure that I wasn't expecting. But no, it was fun. The crowds were great with it. You know, I pulled out an iron as a joke off the tee box, and for me, it was just too much off of the right and more into the wind than anything. And with the driver that I'm using right now, it's a heavier head, and so I can't get the speeds that I'm trying to obtain on the golf course out here eventually. But it has a little more control to it. It has like 3,000 spin. But if it was, one of my normal drivers at 2,000 spin, I totally could have done it today. But if it's more downwind, I'll be able to do it tomorrow, hopefully, or sometime during the weekend.
So DeChambeau says he's using a heavier driver. He's putting a little bit more spin on the ball, and that may make it slightly more challenging for him to be able to carry the proper distance to get over the water, get on land, and then try to get up and down for either an easy eagle or a miraculous albatross too. Okay, but now he's in contention for the tournament. He's one stroke back at the lead after day one, and it's hard to imagine somebody risking their entire tournament on this kind of feat of strength shot. But Bryson's done stranger things, and he's seen a whole lot of success with it. He believes in what he's doing. He believes in the data and what it tells him that this is actually possible. So given the proper wind direction and help, there's a really decent chance that he could try this. Will it happen on Friday? It'll be his 6th hole of the round. So he won't have a complete picture of where he stands in the tournament yet, but as part of the later wave of the day, he should be able to find out pretty quickly by the time he tees off what the number is to get to have the lead going into the weekend, and 6 holes into the round, he's going to have a decent idea of how he's playing. He may be encouraged to go for this. Jordan Spieth will be a bystander. He said that his goal for the 6th hole on Friday is just to put the ball in play, conventionally speaking, driving it just over to the right side, taking off a little bit of the lake, but playing pretty conventionally, and then trying to get to the hole from there. And then he's going to get out of the way and see what Bryson DeChambeau can do. Bryson DeChambeau is not the only person who have tried this and thought about this in the history of golf. There have been plenty of long drivers who have tried this. It's been documented as part of a Golf Digest series. It's difficult to do. The long drivers were not successful in those attempts, in part because the wind was working against them, and in part because from the back tee, it's an even longer carry, closer to 360, 370 yards. And frankly, that's just not feasible in competition. And it's really not feasible for most human beings. But John Daly has tried this. Wound up making an 18. One of the more fascinating experiments to try to break golf, so to speak. It didn't work for Big John Daly, and it may not work for Bryson DeChambeau. I have a feeling that if he tries this and he goes in the water, he's not going to keep trying like Daly did to try to get over the water with subsequent attempts. He's not going to put his tournament at risk just for this kind of feat of strength shot. But it wouldn't be surprising if he did try it on Friday, Saturday, maybe even Sunday, depending on how the competition plays out for him. It's going to be fascinating to watch. It is possible. The data is there to show it. If he pulls it off, it's going to be something that we're going to talk about for years to come. And you probably want to tune in this afternoon if you can to see if Bryson DeChambeau can drive the par-5 6th at Bay Hill Club and Lodge. I'm Ryan Ballengee. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.